My name is Isaiah Mosteller, and while the scenery around me may look like it could come right out of western North Carolina, where I live, I'm actually in Panama at the moment, hiking a trail called a Sendero Quetzal. Yesterday I said goodbye to a team of friends and colleagues representing Leaf International, and we spent a week in Costa Rica visiting the programs that Leaf supports there. And that would be some programs in the Bribri nation of indigenous people called the Bribri, and also with a similar group in the town of Las Casones, but they are of the Ngabe tribe. And what Leaf does there is they support, just as its mission is at the festival in North Carolina, to promote community through the arts and through music, and make not just a local community, but making that a global community. Leaf is supporting programs here where tribes that are sort of threatened to lose their culture. They're threatened, it's been through some government action, but a lot of it is just the massive influx since the conquest and colonization and the development of our world, that their language is being lost, their traditions, the trained people who know some of the stories, know how to make some of the instruments, know the songs, and the language especially is being lost. However, we've been happy to find on this visit that there are a lot of people who are helping to sort of turn the tide. And these people are native people, they're local, they're people that began this work and had a heart for it even before Leaf took them on as a teaching artist or as collaborators. And so it's been really great to see Leaf's programs as they sort of help the people where they need it, but also going through the local sources and empowering some of the programs that are already in place. So we got to witness on our trip several beautiful things. In the Bribri, where we stayed at a place with some families, and a place that are actually welcoming tourists to visit, at a home called Kaswak in the town of Amubri. We stayed there and we got to see some of the songs being recorded. Leaf supplied modern technology to record these songs and document for preservation. And in fact, technology is something you're not too far away from. Even though their location is fairly remote, you'll find they have smartphones. There's a radio station we support to help record and spread some of their music and traditions. We saw some dances that the children had done, and we also got to meet with a couple of the Awa. And Awa is a shaman in the Bribri nation, and got to hear more about their beliefs, their familiarity with the local plants as medicine and treatment, and their ethic of conserving their own environment. In fact, it was a fairly clean place, and even though they do rely on some outside products, they do live fairly self-sufficient lives in terms of what's produced locally. We went also to an area that is sort of, the Bribri are on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, kind of up in the mountains, not right on the coast. And similarly, on the Pacific side, up in the hills away from the coast a bit, are the Ngabe. Now the Ngabe were a fairly large and amplified group. In fact, most of them are here in Panama, but there is a group of them in a reservation, called it Comarca, that are in Costa Rica. And they can, we've met with some teachers there, in particular Alexis Rodriguez, who speaks the Ngabe language, who teaches. He's kind of a Renaissance man of sorts. He teaches the language, he teaches the song, some of the dance, he plays instruments, he does drawings of some of the legends and the stories that have been passed down. So he's really doing a lot of work to preserve and communicate that. He actually, even though he operates a school at his compound, he travels to other areas and teaches other groups. So it was real impressive to see those programs, to know that LEAF supports those. And just as we have the mission in North Carolina to foster our own community through the music and arts, it's good that LEAF is doing the same thing to see where here in both Costa Rica and Panama, to foster that community and that pride and their traditions, because these Indian tribes are economically at the lower rung in these countries. In fact, the land I'm walking on now was Ngabe land, and now there's a lot of fincas or farms, and the Ngabe are here, but they're working those for other people who own them and make more money. And so there is definitely a disparity in some of this beautiful land I'm walking around. It is beautiful, seeing some beautiful homes, but they're probably not owned by more of the native people, the Ngabe. But again, I've ran into them frequently, talked to some of the children today as they're walking to and from work. And so this is a beautiful place to visit. Certainly you can probably tell from the background, I've been up at a higher elevation, up around 9,000 feet, and walking down now more in the rainforest valleys. There's volcanoes dormant around me, and there's just a real beauty here, and certainly deserved of the people who come to visit it. But I'm really glad that I got to come on this trip as a LEAF International Ambassador and to visit these places, because the guidebooks and some of the information that you'll get about this area don't really focus on the indigenous people much. While Costa Rica and this area of Panama didn't necessarily have the big civilizations that you might have encountered at the conquest originally, such as the Aztec, Inca, there was a native presence here, and it is being lost just through the way our world is going. And it's not something that's highlighted. You know, this isn't an area with ruins like you'll find in Mexico or Peru. And so even the tourists are often travel here, and the local people who are descended from the criollos, or the mix of the Spaniards that came. They're not even real aware of the natives people here, and that they live here and are trying to preserve their culture. And so it's been a great trip to see that and know that those people were here, know their traditions are being kept, even though it's not something you're likely to see in the tour brochures. But maybe we can change that a bit if there's some ways we're exploring to do culturally sensitive tourism that visits these places and empowers them and encourages them to take pride in their own traditions and not let them be lost through the overwhelming tide of the modern world. Well, that's a little summary of the last week. Like I said goodbye to the LEAF team, and now I am traveling on my own for about another week to check out some parts of Latin America and Panama that I have not been to before. So, adios and buen viaje.